created and what we've done. Our goal is to talk through Adobe Visual Design 1 and take questions. We are going to have Christy Dye here from Certiport. She's going to pop in later so that she can also share with you stuff about Certiport. Our goal is to kind of help you be prepared to teach Adobe Visual Design 1 as well as we can. Just so you know who you're dealing with, I've been a teacher for 15 years in the Adobe Digital Media program. I'm nationally board certified, department chair, and I teach every Adobe course you could possibly teach.
I've been teaching for 8 years, and I worked on the digital media curriculum team and now the Adobe team. And I only teach Adobe Visual and Adobe Video, not Adobe Digital. And I'm also a subject matter expert for Certiports. I help them write the certification exams.
Yeah.
But don't come to me with any problems on the certification exams.
Our third partner is a guy named Dennis Perks. If anybody's familiar, he was at DPI for a little while. He's in Wake County with me. I'm at Wakefield High School. He is on vacation because, like, bless his little heart, he just thought he had to go on vacation with his family. But he is also one of those people like we are that are always here and helpful, willing to answer your questions, willing to share and support you as much as we possibly can. Because our number one goal is to create a program that is effective for our students and for us so that we can have our students master what they need to learn for these courses. We think that Adobe programs are quite valuable, so we want you to be as successful as humanly possible at teaching these courses. If you are new to Adobe Visual Design, what has happened is we have split the courses. It used to be in one course, and I was beating that drum for years saying it's too much. It is way too much to do. Getting through 3 certifications is just destroys my ability to have fun with my students and get them enjoying the software when I'm like, no, certification. So it has been broken up into 2 courses, so we're really excited about it. The first course, if you did change your objectives last year, you should be a little bit more familiar with what we're going to talk about, but some people did not update, so we are going to just talk about it like it's brand new to everybody. For Adobe Visual Design 1, our goal for this course is Photoshop and Illustrator. That is our focus. They will tell you that your number one goal is to get them certified, and I'm not going to tell you that's wrong. I'm going to also say our goal is to get them comfortable using the software to create visual design. That is my goal for my students. It's not about passing a test. That's great, you can pass a test, but can you use the software to create stuff, right? So we want to make sure they're learning the skills, but doing it in a fun way. So I'm gonna just hit the highlights about objectives, just to make sure that everybody's kind of on the same page and we're all familiar with the way things have adjusted and changed. As I said, we're gonna be talking about Photoshop and Illustrator and Visual Design 1. In case you need it tomorrow, we are teaching an introduction to Photoshop and an introduction to Illustrator in this room as well. We're gonna cover as much as we can in the amount of time we've been given, but we're trying to lay down the foundations as much as we can. I think the next door and I are gonna be competing for loudest. So objective 1, standard 1 has been updated, thankfully. I'm really happy about this. So rather than having the elements and principles of design embedded with your Photoshop objectives, your Illustrator objectives, or InDesign, it's now been pulled out and made its own separate piece, which is wonderful. So objective 1 is going to be concepts related to the design industry. So in my opinion, this is where you're really going to want to lay down that foundation of elements of design, principles of design. What is copyright? What is trademark? Why do we care about these rules? Talking about licensure, going through what is raster, what is vector, going through some of the basic file type stuff. If your county is like mine, those first 10 days, right? In and out, in and out, in and out. This is when you want to nail this objective. I strongly, and I think Mike will agree, don't start software day 1. There is no way. Because you will have that baby who walks in day 9, and you're like, oh, let me teach you the last 2 weeks of Illustrator. My bad. So in my opinion, this is going to be a great place to start. And then the rest of the standards, in my opinion, look pretty similar. 2 now is exclusively Photoshop. You'll see that there's nothing talking about digital images any longer. You're not seeing those elements of principal design objectives. The goal is to cover that first, and we're not having redundant curriculum.
So we really tried to align the curriculum standards and objectives with the certification exam standards and objectives. Before, if you looked before, they were sort of all over the place compared to the certification tests, and now we've really tried to align those. Since that certification is your proof of learning, right? Instead of any kind of final exam, we have those certifications. And you can find all that stuff on the Certiport website, but we have it in the curriculum guide as well.
And I stepped on the Port cord.
And I see some of you guys like taking notes or taking pictures. This PowerPoint is online. You can access it in the NCA CTE program or the website, and we have it listed on Emily's website,
which I'm going to talk about really quick. So NCDPI, bless their hearts, this is a lot for them, right? There's so many sessions. So one of the things I just decided, just for giggles, if you are not familiar with me, I run a website. Originally, it was for my students, and then my county made me use an LMS, which I threw a minor hissy fit over, but I got on board. So I have a website. It's whsdigitalmedia.weebly.com. Use it, y'all. I build it for you at this point. I don't keep it updated for my babies anymore. Sorry, I call my kids my babies. It's a problem. whsdigitalmedia.weebly.com. I used to be a digital media teacher, which is why it's digital media. I haven't bothered changing it because nobody would be able to find me anymore. So up here, I have everything. All of my lessons are posted. I'm happy for people to share. I also have a YouTube channel, which is Emily K. Scales. Some people are nodding. I think they know me. But on my site, what I did is I made a page just for these sessions for you. It's on the very top. It's called For Teachers. And I've put all of the files, all of our presentations. I have YouTube videos up here that Mike and I made for some of the later sessions, links to curriculum, because the app I know has had a little bit of hiccups here and there. And I saw one of my files was linked in. So it was just one of those, I just made my own thing for all of our sessions. So this is whsdigitalmedia.weebly.com. If you want to head there, all of our files are going to be linked there. I am a huge believer, and there is no reason for y'all to reinvent the wheel. There is no reason. I'm a fourth generation CTE educator. My mother was a CTE teacher in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. My grandfather was one when it was still occupational education. So I come from a deep line of CTE educators. So I am a true believer in supporting y'all as much as I humanly can. So when I started teaching, my mom taught graphic design. I took Photoshop under my mom at NC State. Oh yeah. And y'all, I didn't get A+ just because it was mama. She made me work for it. It was graphic communications was the major, and it was, 420, 422, GC 420, something like that, at NC State. But my point is when I started, there was nothing. So I've built everything, and I am happy for you to use my stuff. I do not believe I will probably never throw it up on Teacher Pay Teacher because we don't get paid enough, y'all. Lord. So use my site, dig in, get as much as you want. We're providing a lot of resources today, so that's just one more. I just wanted to share that one with you if you wanted the PowerPoints, wanted to follow along. 3 is going to be our Illustrator objective. Again, looks very similar to the way it looked before, but again, we've just taken out that, like, what was 301 is now we're going into the interface. We're talking about the actual program. Okay? And then last is going to be...
right. For those of you that have taught this class before, right, or any software-based class, you're probably not only spending 4% of your time talking about the interface, right?
We're not individually. Yeah. It's not like, I'm going to spend 1.5 days, and all we're going to do is talk about this one thing, right? We weave it in.
And the same thing with principles of design and elements of design. You're going to weave all that stuff throughout your semester and your curriculum. But we did want to chunk it out just so that it's there and so that it's in the blueprint for you guys.
Okay. The last standard is going to be your InDesign standard. We fought really hard to get this reduced completely. They wanted to keep, sorry, I'm going to put that in this y'all. So it is 10%. If you read the objectives, both are understated. There's no apply, there's no create, there's none of that. Do you have to get into the software and visual design 1? No. They want you to kind of lay the foundations to maybe get them interested in Adobe Visual Design 2. If you don't get to it, is anyone going to be mad at you? There's no certification tied to this objective. In my opinion, I'll be honest, y'all, with these COVID kids, I didn't get to it.
I also did not get to InDesign.
Didn't get to it.
In level.
And I'm not upset about it. This to me is just, it's a glaze, if you will. If you want to do a couple of activities just to kind of lay the foundations of InDesign, you can. We've given you stuff for it, but really I would hold it if it's, this is Emily talking about sales, the person who works for DPI and the department chair. Emily says, don't stress me. Because this is a lot of material. We have it in, right? This is a lot to cover. Even though we've broken it down, it's still a lot to cover.
And just to, right, I know there's been some pushback about like, why do we have to do 2 certifications in one class? Because for those of you that know, it is a push to get 2, right? The drafting classes have 1 certification per class. Word PowerPoint is 2, but those aren't quite as rigorous as the Adobe exams, right? The way the proof of learning has to work is that your proof of learning has to cover 80% of your course blueprint. So we cannot just say only Photoshop or only Illustrator unless your whole level 1 is essentially Photoshop or Illustrator.
And that's
right?
unfortunately just not possible for us to.
We can't do 3 level 1, level 2, level 3. It's like too many classes. And so we were thinking about how to best break it up. And so it's like Photoshop, Illustrator together, and then InDesign's level 2 is separate. And it is tough, right? It's tough getting those 2 certifications, but it's definitely doable.
It's doable. I did it all of my, I think I had like 2 babies that bless their heart. They tried so hard, but they don't possible. It's completely possible to still have fun with your kids and get them through certification. We're going to talk about a lot of that too and give you best practices where we can. If we're talking too much, you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We want to get into what we're giving you. So back in the day when it was digital media, we had QTL. Anybody remembers QTL? Okay. What they gave us was cute, right? It was cute. Bless their hearts. That's my mama talking. Bless their hearts. We as instructors, we got into it, right? And we were like, okay, what would I want? What would I want to be given as a first-year teacher? And that was what our thought was. If you are brand new to this, what do you need to be successful? As I said, when I started, there was nothing. They gave us these cute little PowerPoints. Like, have fun. Here's 5-question worksheets. So it's still 90 minutes. That's great, right? Our goal, so Dennis and Mike teach very similarly to each other. I'm a little different. I'm very, very, very structured, very rigorously structured person. Like, I'm overboard a little bit. That's okay. So we teach very differently. So our goal for our curriculum guide was to give you choices so that you could build a course that suited your teaching style best. If you're like me and you need something every single day and you need some type of check every single day, you can follow my path. If you like projects, we've got projects for you. We've also got activities that have nothing to do with the software for almost every single objective. That was our goal, is to give you supplemental activities. So what do we have for you? We have no PowerPoints. We were told to make them very minimal, so you will have to juice them up a little bit if you want to make them a little more engaging. We did make our own images, and we made animated GIFs where we could to demonstrate different tools. We tried to give you something that was valuable, but again, if you're like me, I had to stop and make mine pretty. So I write pretty ones up. With Wake County teachers, you'll get my pretty ones. You're my Wake County people, I got you. We've also given you note-taking guides, video or vocabulary glossaries. We've given you vocabulary-based worksheets. If you like them to take vocab notes, we've got you those. We've got software-based worksheets. So that's what I do. I love a worksheet. And when I say worksheet, I mean it's a worksheet that opens up an Illustrator. But here's activity 1. Here are all the steps. Here's a little picture of what it's supposed to look like. I have them go through it, and I'll show you some. Not trying to brag, it ain't bad. Y'all, those are my labor of love. I did the first one, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I made another one. The kids told me they liked this, and then I made the third one. We're at like 112 at this point. We've got a huge folder of there's a lot. We've also got step-by-step tutorials. We've got guided kind of practice stuff with the softwares. We've got projects. We've got something. Y'all, we have given you. I think there's one over there. There's one right here. Got a couple up front.
Right, it used to be that you'd go to that Moodle website, which we'll go over later for those of you that are new, and it would say like, here's the blueprint, go to Adobe Education Exchange. And you should not have to go to the Adobe Education Exchange at all anymore. We have everything. We have way more than you're going to be able to do in a semester.
So I like Starbucks and Domino's. Our big thing was I was always so frustrated when I started teaching. They handed me this curriculum, and I was like, "Are y'all playing with me? Are y'all playing with me?" I started in a charter school where they gave me nothing. They were like, "I do nothing." So I was used to making my own, so I built it, right? And then we started talking to DPI. Dennis Perks was at DPI, and he and I were always talking to your buddies and your pals. And I was like, when this happens, you gotta let me know, because I will do it. I will throw it down. And that's what we've done for a year. We met every week for a year virtually. We were throwing it together. You ought to see me and Mike's email chains. Like, they're nasty. They were running like in the thousands. So we built you something that you can pull from. Now, disclaimer. Do not try to do everything we do. Please don't. You will die.
You're not going to be able to do everything
You
this
can't.
semester.
You got to pick. We've given you a buffet. Pick and choose what works for you and what you want to do and how you want to do it. Some of us go hard. I go hard. I warn my babies. Y'all better be prepared to work. We don't get free time. Like, we're motoring, right? So you can get through a lot if you choose to, but I can't get through all this. I move fast. Okay?
Where you store all this?
We're going to talk about it.
So there's a guide. It's like a 200 plus page document. But I also recreated a Canvas shell for everyone that has everything that you could ever need in this one Canvas shell. We're going to help you guys upload it. It's a little tricky to find because I got to upload it's sort of funny. But we're going to go through all that.
Why don't we skip this and
Okay. She's coming at 9:20.
Yeah. I think we're probably.
Well, so just to say real fast, right? Our curriculum guide is not, so the certifications, right? You guys all know the certifications are proof of learning. The curriculum guide that we're going to provide, or we are providing, is not a direct path to certification. I would not just go through these projects and these worksheets and then tell students, go certify. For those of you that know, there's like G-metrics, there's Brain Buffet, there's all sorts of other things. You can create your own sort of like practice exam.
Which we've done.
Yeah.
Mike and I kind of built some things together to try to help our kids. You have to have them practice the test. You cannot just be like, "This is how you use a pencil. Go forth, my children, and certify." It's not going to work. The certification, anyway, how many people are in here are certified? Just kind of curious. All right, good. So y'all know, right? Like those who are not, the certification wants it its way. They're very particular. Now it's gotten better.
It's way better.
Way better. It used to be, it was, you had to go up to this and then you click this option. If you didn't click that, don't use a keyboard shortcut because that don't work. Don't use a panel because that's not going to work. It's gotten better. It started to grade things better, and I've seen a definite increase in my students' success on the certifications and students and not. If you have not certified, please don't have your students certified. You need to certify first. You need to see what they're going to see. You need to do the G-metrics, if you have that for your county, before they have a good time.
I would take the test twice.
I do both
I take
versions.
I take it every year, twice.
Every year.
We update the test every year, and so every 2 years there's like a major refresh of the
And
exam.
there's always this one question.
Yeah.
You're like, are you kidding me? Like, what is that? So he takes it twice. I do the same thing. I go into Photoshop, I take it once, and then I go in and take it twice because that way I see as many of the questions as possible and I see what they see. We also, here's a fun way to like help your kids is I won't tell them my time until after they're all done. And they're like, who thinks they beat you? Who thinks they got me? And they're like, I did it in 43 minutes. I'm like, that's cute. Who's got it? 32. And I was like, I did it in 14. They're like, what? It's a fun way to like get them like juiced up for it. But you need to certify first. I also do the G-metrics first. I go through and take those practice exams first before they get to, because there are questions that are weird because we can't cover it all. It's not possible to cover every single thing in this certification. I try my hardest, I really do, but it's just not.
No.
So your goal is definitely to do both, and then this they added just recently where if you do both, you get this little fun thing that comes to their house, which they're super excited about when they get that at home. But we're going to kind of show you some of the course guide and kind of go through what we've given you.
I'm gonna add one thing
Yep,
here
do you.
because I've seen people post on the Moodle or send me emails saying my LCO wants to use their exam score as a final exam grade. And if you can push back against your
Don't let them do that.
Don't let them do that. If you ask Certiport, they say that a 700, right, which is the minimum score, and a 1,000 are the same.
Yep.
Kids get different exams.
Yep.
Different questions are weighted.
It's not
with
equitable
difficulties.
grade-wise.
So it is not fair to use that as a final exam grade. So
What we do is if they pass, they get 100 on the final.
that's fine. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
totally fine.
and that fixes that.
And
Yeah.
that's one way to do it. I'm not have to go tell them. Shut up. What I do is they just don't get an exam grade. Well, I average their quarter one, quarter two, and then that's the grade they get. So I tell them like, y'all don't do your homework. You ain't gonna like that exam grade. I don't care if you pass your
Yeah.
certification. It's not equitable to give them their certificate. Oh yeah, welcome in, girl. Welcome into my show. I'm working. One day I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna go on the comedy bet. That's my plan. I'm gonna give Eliza Schellwinger a little run for her money.
Yeah, if your kid gets a 750, really push back and do not have that 75% be their exam score.
It's not
really
fair.
Not
It's
fair
just not
or
fair.
equitable. And on Certiport's website, it says not to use the score that they get on the exam as any kind of grade score other than like a pass-fail.
A pass-fail.
Or just a straight 100 is fine if you're counting an exam grade in instead of an exemption.
We want to go ahead and get into the curriculum and kind of show stuff. This is the very beginning, just to kind of show you what the DPI has the course description as when it's talking about what our goal is. Again, I've got this for you, so I'm not going to pause to let you read it. This is our disclaimer, though. We kind of touched on this a little bit. I just want to be very clear that when we're talking about using our curriculum guide, this is not meant to be a step-by-step in any way. We've provided a variety of levels. So again, if you have a mainly freshman level course, there may be stuff that you don't want to do with them because it's too rigorous for them. If you do have a lot of juniors and seniors, maybe you do need to pop up your rigor and do some of the harder, more critical thinking activities that are projects. We've also given extra stuff. I'm going to throw my little thing in. I provide you my resources, but I still own them. They do not belong to DPI. Everything that exists on my website is my property, my copyright. So I'm just putting DPI does not own my stuff. So if something is wrong or there's a mistake, that's because I'm human and I try hard. But so just don't email DPI yelling that one of my worksheets had an error, because that's
Everything
me.
else is owned by DPI.
Yeah.
But like, feel free to modify any of the things in the curriculum guide, right? Like, I'm constantly changing things and tinkering with things.
Yep, always.
And you should feel free to edit essentially like whatever you want.
Okay. We're gonna go ahead and let Mike take over, and he's gonna go through the Moodle with you. We're gonna pull open the curriculum guide. I mean, I'll still be chiming in because I don't know how to keep my mouth shut. But we're gonna go ahead and show you what we've got for you and pull up the guide. It is in the Moodle now, if you're familiar with that.
So here's the here's the link to where's your mouse here?
Center.ncsu. I know that might, it's like super weird.
Yeah, here's the link to the Moodle. If you're not already like registered in the Moodle, your local is going to have to get you registered in there, but we can show you what it looks like. It's been updated. Yeah, it's been updated a little bit compared to how it was even just 3 weeks ago.
And this is linked on my page that I showed y'all before teachers. I got a link for you.
So in the Moodle, for those of you that haven't used it, right, there's a discussion board, and then there's also all the curriculum resources. I know some people use the discussion board and some people don't. If you have good questions, you should absolutely be posting them to the discussion board. People are pretty responsive on there. Yeah.
Same concerns, same questions, and Mike answers pretty often. Dennis Perks answers. I try to answer when I can.
I have to end the show to get to. Okay. All right, there we go. Also, DPI monitors the discussion board. So if you have questions about certifications or something's not working right, you should be posting in that discussion board. You can email people. You can email me as well. But that discussion board, yeah.
So you are always welcome. It's go to Chrome.
It's right here. So when you log into the Moodle, it's going to look like this, right? And you're going to go to your CSIT, which is what you have to get like a registration code for. And if you don't have that, it's fine. But I'm going to show you what it looks like. We're all the way at the bottom, right? It's not alphabetical. And it's been updated to the Adobe Academy pathway, right? So I-4.1 to 4.5. 4.1 is Adobe Visual 1. It's this class. 4.2 is Adobe Visual 2, which will be later on. And when you open it up, you're going to see there's like the Adobe Academy Pathway Discussion Forum. So I'll take you here. And it's just people asking questions, right? And this is really worthwhile. I would use it, is the best I can say. Any questions you have, you can post them here. And again, people are pretty responsive, especially like questions about certifications. Certification isn't working on my computer. For those of you that have certified, you know it errors out, right? It's not perfect, and everyone's computers are different, and your software is different, and it might update to a new software or it might not. Having said that, also, I do want to say, you do not have to use the newest version of the software to count as your proof of learning, right? Every year, there's a new software update, 2022, 2023. This upcoming school year, it's going to be like Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign 2022. And the tests have been updated for 2022. But if your county always puts the new software on there right away, you're going to find issues, right? There's always issues, especially with the way the software and the certification tests talk to each other. I'd recommend, if you can, trying to stay a year back.
Yep. I run 2021 is when
yes.
I run my lab, and I turned off automatic. I run my own lab. IT doesn't touch my group. They don't like I teach on math lab.
And I'm the opposite. I have zero control over anything in my lab. It drives me crazy.
If you have no, I know. I'm sorry. I've been fighting a good fight for a long time. I'm proud of the people I need to grab. I will say, if you don't have a relationship with your IT, you need to get one. You need to develop a relationship with them, because we have legitimate reasons for why we need to roll back, because the certification will not work on the newest software, period. It will not. You have to be like Photoshop's like 21.4
Yeah.
something. Like I think it's 21.5.4 is the version you have to be on. So you have to have that relationship with your IT so they can help support you. So that you are running the right. You don't want to be teaching them in 2022 and then have to roll back the last minute and then they're suddenly having to use an older version that may not behave the same way or may have a tool that's different. Because they do like to change, like instead of refine mask, it's now selected mask. It does the exact same thing they changed the name.
And especially like if you teach, as a heads up, if you teach Adobe video design, for any of you that have used Premiere 2022, they've totally updated the import file and new project window, and it's 100% different, right? They're trying to make it more like mobile, so like Premiere Rush. So I'd highly recommend staying with the 2021 software. If you get the opportunity, just like email your technology people if they're the ones that install it, and then that way, like if it worked last year, it's going to work this year. They are going to be releasing the 2022 test soon. It might have already come out, but I would hold on. So this is the discussion forum. I'm going to go back a page. Oh man, I hope we get applause like that.
Y'all need to like applause.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So now what you're going to find in here, right, every time you have to go all the way back.
Yeah, it's not alphabetical. It's by curriculum numbers, so we're by I. So it's not under the A. So you have to go down to I.
So now there's a page for Adobe Visual 1 and Adobe Visual 2.
It's not just one.
Yeah.
Here, Adobe. Here's 4 links for you.
The Adobe Education, the Education Exchange is here, but like I said, like I don't think for at least these classes, you should not have to use the Education Exchange. It's sort of frustrating to use. So on the Adobe Visual Design 1 page, it's going to look different, right? You're going to see it's going to link you right to the course management system, which has the information, the standards, and the pathways. So if you click on the standards page, it's just going to show you essentially what we already showed you, which is the like blueprint.
And you have a version where you can download an Excel version if you like. If you're extra like I am, I have mine laminated.
And this is exactly what we just went over with you guys. So that's there. You're also going to see the curriculum guide here and the Canvas. I'm going to go over Canvas in a little bit.
When you see that it's 200 plus pages.
A lot of that is projects.
We gave you a lot of projects. We gave you all the answer keys. We gave you all sorts of vocab lists, everything.
Did you already download
One more
those?
time? So
I'm gonna help you guys get into the Canvas. Yeah, we didn't have any control over like how that was uploaded, so but I have it to share with you if you need it in a separate form.
Yeah, go to my finder.
The cartridge file works.
Yeah, you gotta download it.
So they publish the Canvas to the NC DPI Commons. So if you log into your NC, I'm gonna help you. If you log into your NC EdCloud account and then click on NC DPI Commons and then go to Commons and then accept the license agreement, you can get to it. It's a little confusing. I'm going to show you. But first we'll go over the guide.
And then we'll get to that. All right, so it is a document, as a Word document. I'm not trying to criticize. I really wish we had done like folders where everything was laid out like that. The only thing is, or is that all?
The PowerPoints are in the Canvas. I don't know where they have stored. Yeah. Because we have, yeah. It's a large document with a lot of hyperlinks.
It's a lot, but again, it's a buffet, right? We do not expect you to take from everything, pick and choose what you want. We've given you answer keys. We've given you everything. You can copy and paste out of there to make your own versions. Again, if you want to see on my website, I've got a lot of it up there. And then we've got all of it. Mike built a big old canvas, but again, it's a buffet. Don't feel like you have to use everything. Delete the things that you're not interested in using, things like that.
The Canvas shell is exactly the same as the curriculum guide. It has every single thing that the curriculum guides had. It's just broken down into units and sections and stuff like that. Emily, do you want to go over this guide here? Okay. All right, cool.
Okay, so if we scroll down,
It's still loading. You can see it's still loading in. It's long.
no, say edit anyone.
I'm not going to duplicate it. We're not going to edit it, right?
There you go. All right, so we got your table of contents up here that's going to kind of go through the stuff at the beginning that we always see. So let's go ahead and go all the way down to the first. So this is all that, like, here's what we do, here's what we are. Okay, this is kind of a good way to show you how it's going to be broken down. So we've got your standards here, we've got your indicator, and then we kind of listed out what you're going to find unpacked under this standard. So the standards are really big, right? So we went through and we unpacked each standard. So we did your unpacking for you. Anybody's county making y'all unpack your standards? We did the work for you. Go ahead and here and steal it. So what we did is we took like the Certiport stuff and we took our own kind of what we think is relevant to those standards, and we broke it down and we unpacked this. So then what we've got for you, depending on the objective, some have a lot and some have a little bit less, just depending on that objective. So you'll see that we've got student activity sheets. So we've broken it down as setting project requirements, and we've got activities, and we've labeled kind of what they are so that it helps you find things a little bit more easily. Target audience, who's the audience, right? We go through that with them.
And again, these are not mandatory. Right?
Yeah.
You can pick and choose which of these you like to do, which you don't like to do.
And then if you'll see, then you kind of come down here and we've got some notes here. Again, we have PowerPoints, so don't feel like you have to pull and make your own. We've made PowerPoints where we've given you kind of what we think is extra information that's necessary about the standards. And then you keep going, and then you're going to get into the worksheets where we've laid them out for you. Now, it's all 1-inch margins because they made it.
So some things are on 2 pages.
So just be aware
that you could edit into
if
1
you
page.
Take it into wording,
Yeah.
It'll fit on the page. So we've given you a lot of different activities. Again, this is stuff that I do when my kids are still moving around and I don't want to get them logged into software and all that kind of jazz. And we built you answer keys to help because we get some people are new and they may not know the answers. And we get that because we were all new at one point, right? Everybody was new at one point. No, he came out of the womb ready to go. So let's go down to actually like a photo.
Yeah, so we'll skip down to.
We got copyright notes for you. We
have a lot of notes.
Yeah, tons of stuff.
And so you can see here, like,
there we go.
And when we go into like elements of design, it's still not even in the software
Yeah,
yet, right?
Still, look at how much we've given you. It's just like, boom, elements and principles of design, your graphic stuff, typography, elements of art, lots of activities that keep them going, keep them having fun. Because I don't want to be bored. Y'all want to be bored too? I hate worksheets. So I try to make stuff that's fun, that's engaging, that helps enforce the concepts in a fun way that's creative and engaging, and isn't like, let's do both. I don't even teach PowerPoints. I throw them up there. I'm like, get it, that's your homework.
And again, right, everyone's different. So we provided like 10 of these worksheets. I'll tell you that I don't do like any of this, right? I go like day 5, I'm like in the software and I'm trying to do all this in the software as much as possible. But if you want to do these, that's awesome, right? It works. And based on your class makeup, if you have freshmen, something like this might work better as an introductory thing.
I do the scavenger hunts, for example, were mine. That's what I do with them, and we have a good time, and it's like a fun little like thing. And we do like a gallery walk where they show off their scavenger hunts after we're done, trying to get them up and moving.
We're also going to have these additional and supplemental resources in each unit. So like if you want to link out to this like color wheel website, right? We're going to link out a lot to like the Adobe HelpX website. If any of you guys have used that, Adobe HelpX, there's write-ups that explain things, but they also have project files where you can download like whole projects and share those or tell students to go to that website. And so some of the introductory stuff, like in Photoshop, learning how to mask, for example, if you're struggling with creating your own thing or using what we have, Adobe HelpX has that for you. And so those will be under the supplemental resources. Yeah.
We can use it because we have an Adobe license, so we're allowed to use it.
HelpX, and those will all be linked in the
It's
guide.
all linked, yeah. It's all linked. But if you just do Adobe Help, Adobe Education Exchange, all that pops up. And you can log in with your WCSS. Okay, so here's Photoshop.
Yeah.
So again, we've unpacked that. Does that mean? Okay. We've unpacked the content for you. As you get into the software stuff, you're going to see that unpack gets longer and longer. So if you kind of keep going.
A lot of the vocab comes directly, like a lot of this unpacked content is going to come directly from the certification blueprints, which is why, and we added stuff, of course, because you're going to need to teach more than just the certification stuff. But everything that's on here, or I don't think there's anything on the certification, like word-wise, that you wouldn't find in our unpacked content.
Right. We put everything. We shoved it all in. I'd rather give you too much than not enough. So then you're going to get down here. So this is the interface. So I've got my tools in identifying worksheets and get to know stuff. We put some HelpX worksheets that we Perks and I made during COVID because we couldn't do software because all of our babies had Chromebooks. So we were like, let's find things they can do. So we did a lot of help X videos. Let's go down to 2.
Yeah, some units are just going to have way more, right?
Yeah.
The in-software units are going to be way bigger than just like learning the workspace. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, there's a limit. Let's go. There's one. I gave you my keys. Actually, one of my juniors gave me my keys. I was like, Brooklyn, do this worksheet. Okay, here we go. This is the one I really want to show you is getting into what our actual teaching the software activities look like. So layers and filtering layers and stacking order and non-destructive versus destructive editing versus the erasure tools. And so if you come down.
So this one doesn't have quite as many as I think 203 is like the big one.
There it is. You look at all of them.
Where you're going to have.
Here we go. So this is where you're going to find the skills practice. So you're going to see we label them based on the section. So skills practice with video tutorials. So for example, this is my sandwich activity. That's me talking. I'm teaching it, right? And I teach it on my computer. I do screen capture videos where you can have, you want your students to follow along? Let them use mine. Don't feel like you have to reinvent the wheel. Emily K. Scales, please ask them, like and subscribe. I'm trying to get that subscribe number up. We'll make some money if I can. But what we do is we do these different activities depending on what skill. And that's how I break my lessons down. So for example, if I'm trying to teach them how to lighthouse. So this one is like, I teach them how to use select and mask and how to use the different lasso tools and how to use the marquee tools and that kind of thing. So I try to take an activity and we check off tools, right? The Photoshop stuff is a lot heavier, obviously, image-wise. I do have some worksheets as well in here.
You want me to go back up here?
It's just my brain doesn't align that quickly.
I think a lot of these are.
These are all mainly.
Yeah, these are like your step-by-step. So anything that's like this is going to link out somewhere else.
Here we go. Here's one. Filters in Photoshop source. And you'll see it's a PSD download. That's going to link out to an actual Photoshop file with instructions. Anybody's ever used my worksheets, I try to be as extra as I can because these babies, bless their hearts. Anybody notice that like the kids slowly just need more detail? So over the last few years, I've been adding more and more and more details to my worksheets. So I will warn you, some of this like blend modes, it's a worksheet, it's multiple artboards. If you're not familiar with artboards in Photoshop, that's going to show you kind of how that works. Some of them take a little longer to download because it is full of images, so just kind of be aware. I've shrunk them as much as I can to keep, but trying to maintain quality.
And again, for those of you with Canvas, every single thing that's in here is linked out as a separate file in Canvas. So you don't need to like take all these and import them into a Canvas shell because it's already there for you.
So then we've got videos and we've got, I mean, y'all could literally just.
And so like we've got these like independent project guides, and each one of these is probably minimum of 2 days, maximum of a week, maybe, right? Based on the speed of your class and how in depth you want to go with your students. And again, like I wouldn't do all of these, right?
It's which one do you like? Which one do you think your students would like? Which ones allow you to personalize their learning, giving the students choices when they're creating their projects rather than having them all look exactly the same. They're going to be way more engaged if you're saying, make me a postcard. Here are the parameters that you have to include, but you pick your topic. You make it look how you want it to look. I want your style. But then doing feedback and making sure that they're getting that feedback piece because they get their feelings, they're a little tender when they first start getting feedback.
And so like some of these are going to have step-by-step guides in them, right? Select this, download this.
Yeah, like this.
And then we've tried to provide rubrics for all the projects.
Yeah, we have rubrics, I think, for pretty much every project is up
there.
There are styles.
Yeah.
So like, you have a different, like my style is a little different than your style. So,
they're mostly standardized, the rubrics. They're going to look pretty much the same for every project that's on there, with maybe a few.
You don't have to make if you don't have time for it. You can use this for a year if you need to get situated and we go back and tweak and modify.
Now, one thing I'll let you know, just for copyright reasons, we can't always provide like examples of what these end results should look like. Some of them, they're going to say like example 1, like the things I try to provide would say like good example 1, good example 2, good example 3, bad example 1, bad example. But it's going to link you out to another site because we can't. Yeah, any like copywritten picture we can't embed in the.
We try to use as much of our own stuff as humanly possible. So sometimes it's a lot of images that we own.
So here, like sample image 1, sample image 2, sample image 3.
We can't. DPI won't let us put other people's.
And so some of these are just going to be an assignment, right? And like let you roll with it and let your students roll with it. And then some of them are going to be way more.
So again, you choose what works best for you.
Do y'all use Brain Buffet?
I don't.
I haven't. Yeah.
Some people
Do you pay
Chris, I
for
think
it?
you use
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, our-
Some people love it.
Yeah.
I'm extra, and I gotta have control freak. Anybody in Wake County can tell you I'm a control freak, so I like to do mine. But I've heard people love it. It's really good for video, is what I keep hearing. It's awesome for video.
Do you use that as like a certification prep, or
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff, a lot of it, also, I just didn't know y'all incorporated some of that too.
I think we've listed.
I think it's been linked.
It's been linked as a
but you have to pay
resource.
for it. Now,
Yeah.
my thing is in my budget for my, because I had to pay for it out of that kind of money. I'd rather I'm the department chair for my school, so I'd rather let my other teachers have my money, so I don't really try to spend any.
Everything
It's
in
pricey.
here, other than the supplemental resources like Brain Buffet, is totally free. Which is what we wanted to try and keep it.
So-
Yes.
Yeah, I use Brain Buffet, but the only problem with that is like the students are a lot. You don't know if they're sitting or-
And that's why I personalize everything. It's real hard to cheat when everybody has, and I even do like, I'll take my board and it'll be second period, third period, and they have to go put up individual topics. And nobody gets the same topic. And I'll go up there and be like, this one's gone. Or it'll be like, why do y'all have the same topic on? And I erase one. And that way it does help because they've gotten good, y'all. But they are also dumb. And they think that we can't look at something and see that they're exactly the same and layer it up. I do that. I'll print them off and I'll hold them up and I'm like, you want to explain this to me? How's that work? I'm like, I can't do that. I can't duplicate something like that. And I've been on this since I was 13 years old and I can't do that. So I know you and your first level individual cannot do it either. So don't even try to play with me.
So also anything that's in here like this, these projects that we've provided to DPI like now owns. So you please don't like take these and put them on like teachers pay teachers. Not that like anyone would probably notice. But it like DPI owns all this stuff.
Except for my stuff. They don't know my
Yes.
stuff. There was like 4 meetings where I was like, you know that's mine, right? Like that's mine.
So this is mostly what the guide is, right? Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep scrolling.
So this is long. Again, you kind of have to take some time to digest it. I get it. It's a lot. The other one's longer. But again, the top part of each objective is going to tell you what's in there, right? And you can kind of dig in. But again, if you're new to this and you want to attach yourself to one kind of concept or another, we have the canvas, which he's going to show here in a second. If you want to go in and use my style, go for it. Use it. If you want to do just projects, because that's like what Dennis and Mike do. They like their projects. Me, I'm a little different than that. You have to choose what's best for you.
So yeah, I mean the guide is huge. And so here you go,
So
like we
these
get
are
into
like-
Illustrator.
This is my love. This is my child. There was nothing for Illustrator, right? When I started teaching Illustrator, there was like, I found like one pencil, and I was like, that's cute. So these link, if you click on these are going to link out to my website because, and then
Or
on,
like right to the video URL.
and then, yeah.
Yeah.
So they do link out to the worksheet itself. It's not going to link out to my site. It's going to go to the curvature pen tool worksheet. These are all Illustrator worksheets. They download and open in Illustrator. 2021 is a minimum. If you were rocking like 2018, you won't be able to open these. Email me though, and I've been converting for a few people here and there to like SVG files, and I'm happy to do that when I have some time, where I can put one of my advanced studies kits on it. Again, there's a lot here when it comes to Illustrator. I'm gonna pause and say this. It is the objective say Photoshop then Illustrator. Again, if you're in Wake County, you're gonna know I advocate for this. I go Illustrator first. I always start with Illustrator first. Okay, I'll tell you why. So, I don't start with Photoshop first. Originally, I flipped it backwards. And this was on the advice of my mama, who taught graphic design before graphic design was graphic design. She always started with Illustrator first. And I used to start with Photoshop, and then I tried to move them from Photoshop to Illustrator, and they would fight me. They didn't like Illustrator. It seemed hard. It was too complicated. The pen tool just threw their brains. Even though I did an activity that had a little bit of the pen tool, it was just different enough that they just like, ugh. I was fighting them so hard when we left Photoshop to go into Illustrator. Now Mike does it different. I'm gonna let him advocate for his way. So I flipped it. The first year I flipped it, it was a game changer. I was able to do all my foundational stuff for Adobe in Illustrator. They understood the concept of panels better. They understood the concept of going through the menus better. The pen tool made sense to them. Layers made sense to them more because they weren't having to, and this is originally where there was no auto select with the layers that we were talking about in Photoshop that we looked at a few years ago. It was like, really? Where was that for the last 20 years? So I started with Illustrator first, and I laid the foundation because, in my opinion, getting them to go from Illustrator to Photoshop is a smoother transition for them because they're like, "Oh, I got this. Photoshop's easy scales. I got this," and they were so proud of themselves because they were like a duck in water when they got to Photoshop because they learned so much about foundational in Illustrator. The other reason I like Illustrator first is it is harder certification. It is hard. Let's get that out of the way. Let's end on a happier kind of positive note where I keep, we get to Illustrator that morning, we go to take our certification. I bring like muffins and donuts and juice and milk, and I'm like, have a snack, let's get going. Y'all are gonna have a rough day. And I'm like, but guess what, y'all, Photoshop's easy. You get Photoshop and they get so nervous. I'm like, yo, this is nothing. This is easy. And it's a smoother, in my opinion, transition. But I also, and they'll tell you, they'll tattle on me, I love Illustrator. Illustrator is my life. I love it so much. If I could have a whole Illustrator class, that's all I do is Illustrator. I love it, I adore it, which is why you're gonna see a lot more from me in the Illustrator world. I like Photoshop, don't get me wrong. I just love Illustrator. I love the ability to create, which is what I like. I like to draw, I'm an artist. So I really enjoy this. This is a lot more heavy on the worksheet side, what I create. So if you click open like the curvature pen, you click that. I think it should take this. I just want to show like kind of what some of these look like. There we go. So what I do is I build these kind of activities out where I put instructions. This one is a little less heavy on the detail instruction, but I try to put like a little explanation of why do we want to know this tool? Why is this tool helpful? What the keyboard, I love keyboard shortcuts. I shove them in their faces all the time. We have a keyboard shortcut quiz. I love them. And so then I build like activities for them to do. These are great classwork grades. They're a quick activity they can do at the top of the period. I chunk my grading when I do these. And then, like I said, I have a video where I am doing the actual worksheets. I'm going through, I'm being all extra in my videos. I'm explaining it. Sometimes I'm like, all right, I'm gonna show y'all this one. You gotta figure this one out on your own. But for the most part, I go through them. Again, like and subscribe.
It's an ad, but
That's not me. I don't make beautiful dog logos. I mean, I do. There we go. So again, there's the worksheet. There's me teaching it. Nothing fancy. It's just me on a computer having a good time. And then I have a whole channel of them full of all of my. There I am. Look, I'm so expert. They're all up here. Where I've got playlists too based on the different software you're trying to do, and I try to have them labeled very clearly so you can see what you're looking for. But the worksheets are a good foundational. Again, that's how I like that style. So I do 3 or 4 worksheets, and then we do a little activity where they have to apply the skills they've learned in the worksheets. Okay. And they're up there. I got a lot. And again, you don't need to do all of these. Like, you could totally skip advanced gradients. You could skip, drawing in Illustrator. I think that would be skipped. But I like them. I do them. Shaper, do the shaper tool or the shape.
there's a lot of worksheets in
Shaper
Illustrator.
tool is my favorite. Shape builder, that's my jam right there. Shape builder tool. If you don't know that tool, love it, learn it.
Personally, I like to start with Photoshop. I like to hook kids. I like to hook kids in the beginning, and I find that once kids get good at Illustrator, they enjoy it. But the first thing I do in Photoshop, the kids are loving it, and so I just like to hook them early on, especially first semester when they've got like drowsy summer faces, and I want to get them into the software as quickly as possible. At the same time, a lot of the like elements of design, shapes, colors, textures, tends to lend itself better to Illustrator. So if you want to try and link all that stuff in the beginning, starting with Illustrator is fine. But again, everyone's different. And I tend to spend more time in Photoshop than I do in Illustrator. I like to do some photography with my students. I feel like you probably should know how to take a picture before you start using Photoshop. So I like to spend 3 days to a week having them out there taking pictures and different photography assignments and things like that. It's not part of the certification standard, so it's not in the curriculum. If anyone has any questions about that, feel free to email me and I can share
And
those.
first review, he would say he likes to start with InDesign.
Yeah. He does like InDesign for like a week or two and then just moves on.
He said it worked really well. He did this last semester. He said it worked really well, but I'm not gonna. I just thought. I'm like, do you?
And we do have tons of independent, longer projects for Illustrator as well. It's not only worksheets. We have everything for each unit is going to be there.
handed you, I do a ton of it. I just really like
And again, like some of these are going to
short,
have
this
links.
One's super, like the one you just had, like this one's super short.
It's like a one
For
day,
one
yeah.
day or
Your day
got some
before.
for, like a 3 day, or you got some
Yeah.
for, like I have one. It's called my flat design project, and we spent like almost 7 full days on it.
Some of these are like the day before Thanksgiving when like half of your kids are out, and you might not even put this in for a grade, right? But it's something fun for them to do. And we have that for Photoshop and Illustrator. And then some of these are going to be longer.
You want to go over an 8:55?
Yeah. Okay. So So
Any
again,
questions, real quick, about the guide before we move on to Canvas? I just don't want to bum rush if anybody has any questions or concerns.
the guide is on the Moodle website.
If you have struggles with it, feel free
yeah.
to email us, and we'll help you out. We can help get to it, or
So where are we here? No, this opened in Chrome, but we want to go back to. Here we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. So we didn't really. DPI published the Canvas shell, and they published it to the NC DPI Commons. Do you guys all have an NC Ed Cloud account? If you log into your NC Ed Cloud, you'll see here, right, that you have your Canvas. You should. Everyone's a little different, right? Counties do Canvas differently. So you'll have like your Canvas, which is here somewhere for me, the red one. And then here's mine, right, like the LEA. And then there's the NC DPI Canvas. So if you go to NC DPI Canvas and try and log in with your NC Ed Cloud account, it like won't work. But if you log into NC Ed Cloud and then link it from the homepage, you can get into this page. But I'm just going to show you. So like if you click on this right here, for me, like it may or may not load. I don't know. I've been emailing with them trying to like let them know. I have another version of it that I can publish. See, it'll take me here and I can't log in.
yeah, I need to connect.
But I do.
My county's access NC Cloud to get to.
Yeah, if they give me permission, I just don't want to like step on anyone's toes. So if they give me permission to publish it to the regular Canvas Commons, I have it ready to go. I literally just have to hit the Share to Commons button.
We just don't want to. Maybe they were getting there.
Yeah. But if you go here and you click on Canvas NC DPI here, you'll see that it'll actually take you logged in to the NC DPI Canvas. I don't know what the difference is if it loads.
Everybody's on the network. So
Yeah. But I'm going to pull up my local Canvas and see if this loads.
So Mike built this one pretty much exclusively. We like look behind him just to make sure he's got it organized. Mainly, like we'll see how he's got it. He spent a long time. Again, it's everything. So if once you've imported this, change it, do what you need to do, modify it, tweak it. You want to even start over and build your own, just referencing that. It's all about how you would like to best practice.
If it loads.
We may have too many tabs. Maybe you want to shut down.
This.
So on that DPI Canvas, we just search for
I41 in the NCDPI Canvas Commons. Okay, here we go.
I41 and then.
So yeah, here they are and then you go to like Canvas Commons and you can search. I'm going to show you what they look like. These are the ones that I have.
We don't have that.
You don't have it? Okay.
The comments.
It's not there? Okay. Well, I'm going to show you what they look like, and as long as they give me permission to publish, it'll show up in your regular Canvas Commons. You can import it. You can also do from here this cartridge file download, and then you create a course in Canvas and import the full course.
That's what I did.
And it worked? Okay, yeah. So there's a homepage. It's going to take a while. It's a big Canvas shell. The way I made this Canvas shell so that I didn't drive myself crazy and didn't drive you guys crazy with due dates, right? For those of you that use Canvas, due dates is changing all the time, is everything is uploaded as a file and then linked into the modules as a file. So if you want to create an assignment that's going to link to PowerSchool, you'd have to like create that assignment yourself, and then you can just copy that file into there.
The problem is every county does things slightly different.
Yeah.
There's no way for us to standardize the way things work. Like mine doesn't.
So you can see like in the files page, it's got like unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, unit 4, the unpacked content guides, and so on and so forth. So if you go into unit 1,
this is where we would definitely say we want to go ahead and get the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
This is where you want to go.
everything's in here. So like 1.01 is going to have your instructional activities, your PowerPoint, your note-taking guide. That's just in the files page. I tried to make it so that you don't ever have to go there.
That's really more for you to download what maybe you want download those PowerPoints, bring them up, keep them, change them.
I actually have my teacher assistant went into the curriculum guide and saved every different page as a separate file. So like in the additional resources, it's got the Canvas disclaimer. It doesn't have the full curriculum guide because it wasn't approved in time for me to put that on there, but that is on the Moodle website. So it's got like certification resources and links, additional content resources, image resources, like for those of you that do Photoshop and you want to try and stay royalty free with your images, we've linked all those websites here, different font websites. And then we get to like the unpacked content, right? So here's like unit 1.01, here's the PowerPoint, here's the vocab terms, here's the glossary. And I didn't include the keys. Those are going to be like back in the files page. I just didn't include, yeah. And then you've got your instructional activities, and they're all in here. So like if we click on this, it's going to take us to this file. But it's not an assignment, so students can't submit things here. You'd have to create that assignment. I tried to break it down. So the level 1 and the level 2 look a little different because as we'll go over level 2, it's sort of a different class.
So if you're looking at that, just
yeah. So just to go down, just to show you, right, like to get out of the non-software based ones. So you're going to have like the instructional activities. This is exactly what's in the curriculum guide. It's the same thing, just linked out as different documents and different files in your modules page. And then your supplemental resources. So like this first sort of Photoshop unit, there's a lot of supplemental resources. And 2.03, right, skills practice with tutorial videos. And each module is a unit broken down into like objective and standard. And then in here, so in instructional activities, it'll be like skills practice with tutorial videos, guided practice with flip videos. It's the same thing that's in the curriculum guide.
And we try to label, like, if it's a worksheet, we try to label everything so the video and the worksheet are labeled the same so you can kind of see.
Adjustment layers and blend modes. And so it is, and then you've got your independent project guides, which would be things that like, once your kids get a little more comfortable, you can start looking at these independent project guides. And then there's still supplemental resources, right? So like if you somehow are looking through this and you're like, I don't think there's enough stuff here, which I think there's more, there's probably too much. Yeah.
We'll talk about your crazy.
And so like if we go down to the Illustrator unit, which has a lot of those videos, right? So like in this skills practice with tutorial videos, video worksheet video, worksheet video, worksheet video. I probably should have flipped the order of these. Yeah. But you could do that, right? Everything in here is editable. So I could just drag this down.
E-scales at WCPSS.net. It is on my website. E-scales at WC.
Okay, so do you have the, if you scroll down on the left, is there a commons thing?
ESCALES. Scales like on a fish or on a mermaid. Fish scales.
Okay, I'm going to find, so in between, is everyone going to be here for like the level 2 class as well? I'm going to see if I can talk to Brent and see if he'll let me publish these to the regular commons. I saw him walk outside there. So if he lets me do that, when we get into the InDesign level 2, if he lets me, they'll be there. In the regular commons?
Polars is
his, yeah, so Brent's name, because he's the one that hit the publish button. Yeah.
So Brent Curran, CURRAN, is who you may need to search for in the comments to find the Adobe.
It's actually.
And then Mike's is POLLERM, Polar M, at Davie, DAVIE, .K12.NC.US.
No, so it's not in the regular Canvas commons, but you might be in the NCDPI. Yeah, there are. So if you go to the regular Canvas commons and you just look for Adobe, there's going to be like a lot of courses that other people have published, but they're not like the one
if
that.
It doesn't say Brent Curran,
yeah.
It's not our show.
Now, if I publish it, it'll have my name.
Yeah, and we're gonna get once we know.
Yeah.
Maybe we can.
Yeah, I just saw him walk by, so I'm gonna see if I can find him.
So we can't get to it yet.
Well, you can if you go to the
download it.
Moodle and you download the cartridge
And
file,
then import it back into your own Canvas.
and then you can
Which is
import it.
right here.
Yeah, I know it's like a little confusing. We've been trying to communicate with them. I just don't want to like publish it, but then they own it, so I don't want to get in trouble. I saw him walk by. Maybe he's out there. I saw Chrissy Dial.
No, I'm gonna pass on a couple of pieces of paper. If you want to write down your name, your email, maybe what county you're in, and what we'll do is if you have more information, we'll send out an email blast. So if you want to pass it around and I can make a little list. I'm old, and the last time I presented it, gave us sheets like this. It's the cartridge file download. It's right here under curriculum team creator resources. But you got to go into the NC CTE Moodle and then go to CSIT. Then go to the Adobe Copy for digital. Thank you. And I'll share with you. I haven't. So our county is really good. I can't and now they're like just kidding. So they switched to Google. So I'm not gonna read the whole thing. So what I think is if you have what I can do is unarchive what I did this last semester and share it again. Mine's heavy design.
Right, which I'm looking if I can do some supplements. Yeah. Big stuff and, but, do you know George Brooks and Southview? He's always in the I probably so, I use his shell, which he used. God. So my kids watch the news. I don't know.
Is he a teacher? I don't know him, but the last name is
Yeah.
I do this one for a long day, right? That's
Oh yeah.
okay. So I was gonna go.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're good. So, okay. So we've got Ty here from Certiport. He's going to talk a little bit to y'all. Yes. Oh.
The code for the end. We're gonna end hopefully here in a few minutes. Hold on. 9:30 is our time. Sorry, we have till 9:30. We're gonna end a few minutes early so people can go potty. Sorry, we put Christy's information on.
Okay.
Do you need to plug in?
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, I got here before the sheet, so
Do you
I won
need
the
to?
battle, I guess. Yeah. I'll need the dongle that's attached to it.
That's mine. That's okay.
I could get mine, but it's just a simple thing. Ty. Kenworthy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We're gonna give Ty Kenworthy from Certiport just a couple of minutes to talk about some stuff, and then we'll kind of wrap up with questions and concerns and let everybody kind of get out a little bit so we can all kind of break.
Yeah, no problem. How's it going, everybody? You got started bright and early with this course, didn't you? I'm still trying to wake up, so please forgive me. So I'm Ty Kenworthy. I'm with Certiport. I am the program executive for the Adobe program with Certiport. Normally we send out a product manager, but he got sent to Texas, and he said, hey, I need somebody to come cover me. So I hope that I will do as good a job as Tanner typically does. But it's been my privilege to work with Adobe for the past 5 years, and I get to be in their offices often, and and I'm also out talking to folks like yourselves, and I get to be that conduit of information back to Adobe to let them know like what we can do to improve and how we can change. And apparently, this is just going to jump through without my doing anything. So, sorry, I'm going to have to. I think it's set to use timings.
While
Yep.
he's getting that set up, when he's done, I'm going to put up a QR code. And you guys want Adobe posters for your classroom, I'll show you what they look like. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Christy Dye. I probably have talked to a bunch of people. I see some familiar faces in the
Christy's
room.
wonderful, y'all. She will help you every which way she can. She's been with us a long time.
So this is what you'll get, is a little box like this in the mail. So you can put whatever address if you want it to come to your school or your home. And you'll get these awesome posters to put up in your classroom. You'll get a sample certificate that you can put up for your students.
Or you should put your own certificate up. We're all going to get certified.
Yes, in fact, one thing that's super fun when I come out to schools is when I see teachers putting their certificates like on the walls in their classroom or outside their classroom.
Save a wall, y'all, and they love to see their certificates go up. It makes their heart so happy.
This particular kit has 3 posters that come with it. And then your third one is this right here. So anyway, I'll let you take it over.
How many of y'all are doing certification right now? How many are planning to add certification this next year? How many of you should be adding certification this next year? All right, so there's a couple things that we can talk about, and I'm here to answer any questions that you might have as they come up. I wanted to start with first a quick note on our specialty credentials. So these are kind of what we would consider stacked credentials for earning multiple certifications within the Adobe portfolio. It used to be you had to earn 3 certifications to get a specialty credential. That's changed now to 2. You have to get the top one of whichever of these categories that you're looking at. So in this case, you have to get Photoshop, and then you can choose between Illustrator or InDesign to get your professional visual design specialty credential from Adobe. And so these make it, we base these off of like typical workflows for these types of roles. We're looking to add additional workflows and roles as we go throughout time and as we potentially expand the portfolio to include additional offerings from Adobe. Thank you. Hold your applause. Let me give you a quick update on 2022 exams. So these exams are only just offering support for the 2022 versions of the software that launched in October at Adobe's Max conference last year. And so they're still based on the 2021 objective domain. So if you're already implementing that curriculum in your classroom, the exams are only changed to add support for that software. They don't change anything to the questions, to the objective domain, like what you're needing to teach on those exams. So we have right now, Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and Dreamweaver are out for 2022. Coming in August will be Premiere Pro, After Effects, and Animate. So all those should be ready to go at the beginning of the school year. Geometrics has their practice tests, and LearnKey courses are also available for each of these as they launch. So today you can get those Geometrics and LearnKey for Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. Dreamweaver, I think Geometrics is coming out this month. It's still pending, so that one should be landing soon. And then August, the Geometrics and LearnKey courses will launch for those additional 3 titles. With the addition of the 22 support, 2019 exams have dropped. So if you're still teaching to 2019, now during the summer is a great time to update to at least 2020, because we will support 2020, 2021, and 2022 versions of the software.
And just like NCDPI says that they always accept 2020 and forward.
Not 2019. So you don't want to do, you don't even want to be attached to those 19.
Yeah, don't even think about 19. That was so long ago.
That's pre-COVID.
That's right. We're so past that. You can go to certiport.com/Adobe Lida to get additional information on these exams. There are a couple of notes that are not on the slide. That please go to the site and check out the technical requirements for delivering exams. Adobe has shown us over the past several years that they like to update their software, and when they do,
every 20 days.
It's pretty unrelenting. And about 80% of the time when they send an update, it breaks our exams. And that's not something that we love. We have been begging Adobe to give us more of a heads up, and we're working, getting closer to getting more of a heads up. It's the security releases in particular that causes trouble. So
That's why you have to have that relation with your IT department.
yeah,
You can, if you install through the Creative Cloud, there's a little option in there to uncheck automatic updates.
correct.
So if your stuff is working, uncheck, have them not enable automatic updates, they'll stay working.
Even though your IT created a package for your beginning, is not allowed.
Correct. So if anybody has any questions about any of that, please come find me after. I'm happy to talk through any of those details with you about the updates. We list on our website the versions of the software that you'll need to be on in order that we have validated to say that you can successfully run the test. We have expanded our team by double just to support the Adobe exams because of how often they send updates. And we're continuing to expand that team so that we can reduce any headache if you do take those updates for as long as possible.
You have a team metrics practice test too, or kind of working with this is the problem we had. Sometimes we do the geometrics practice test and it would work, right?
Yep.
And the software update that we needed, but then when we went to certification, we had to go back down to or uninstall. Are those kind of coordinated?
We are working really hard with Geometrics to coordinate that. To not get too technical, we are built on 2 different platforms. So it's really annoying because Geometrics will be fine with a certain version that we are not, and because of our platform, it can then be vice versa. So we're trying to find a way to bring those into greater harmony, but because they're not our company, we can't force them onto a certain platform or not.
Yeah, I'll like to add, right? Like I've had issues with certification. So if you go on the Certiport website, there's a live chat function. They are super responsive, very helpful. If you're having an issue like on one computer or kid can't remember their password and you need to reset the password, which happens like every day. The live chat function on the server, you have to sort of navigate to it. But I think it's like downtime, so it's always like an hour. You start at 8, like they're not open. But once they open up, they're very responsive and very helpful.
So thank you for that. The other thing is that you can actually have multiple versions installed concurrently on your machine. And if you need any help with that, you can work with your IT group, and Adobe is willing to help as well. They've been really responsive to helping in these particular scenarios. Again, all I can say is we are working seriously, like overtime, to try to ensure that we are keeping our exams in alignment with updates as quickly as we possibly can, and to be able to give you the support that you need and the information to be successful with these exams. I've been told this: when the exams are working and you're able to run them, they are an awesome exam experience. You are in the actual application. I've had students actually tell me that they enjoyed taking the test. Have you ever heard that from a student before? That I loved taking that test? No, but I have heard that about Adobe because it's fun and it gives the students an opportunity to still be creative